And this is my 4th base. This is the Teristrian Alliance. Justice throughout the stars. This is probably one of my weirder groups. If only in concept. In behavior, it's rather understandable. They're basically interstellar bounty hunters. This is their leader, Ambassador Kranash. I'm actually rather proud of this design. Basically, he could be considered a big bear, but his ears are too long and he has a big rough tail. On top of that, he's got a cyborg arm. This is a concept that goes through all of his iterations. His initial costume. This one, both arms are covered. So you have to look kind of close. I don't know. Right, I think the idea here was he actually decided to go for symmetry for this outfit. This one's funny. He actually has a hook for a hand. Pirate bear. When the homecoming team introduced the ability to use different gloves, I took full advantage in this case. Ambassador Kranash is what's called a mastermind. He's able to summon monsters to aid him. In this case, the idea is genetically modified terrestrial animals. That would be King, Aquila, Hunter, Rex, and the Ghost in the Darkness. Named after the Val Kilmer movie. It's a good movie. So, this is the entrance. And as it's the only entrance, it is heavily defended. And it leads into the recreational area and lounge. Much like Blue Talon Investigations, I have the bulk of the player's needs right here at the beginning. Portals in neighboring rooms, workshops in neighboring rooms, and training in stores, as well as Icon and Face Maker, both of whom do the same thing, customize your appearance. Right here. Cooking area, dining area, relaxation. The mechanical workshop. Over here, the idea is that there are code breakers working for the Alliance, keeping an eye on various terrorist factions and alien factions throughout the world. This is the Mystic Room. This is where lectures are held. And like always, I've got the invention bench built into all of the now inactive portions. Not too happy about that glitching, but they are mystical, so it could just be written up as our eyes are having trouble adjusting. These are the portals. I used base raid portals this time. We have the changes Homecoming made. All the portals basically function the exact same way. They all take on 10 beacons, and that's it. I don't really fault them for that. They don't really have a choice in that matter. That's what the portals were coded for as a maximum, and that's all they can take. My friends often don't understand my design philosophy when it comes to where I set up portals. For me, it's very simple. Back in the Paragon days, when most of the portals could only take 2 beacons apiece, I would set it up so that the nearest portal would have the most common hub area. That was Talos Island. In Paragon City, practically everything was connected to Talos Island. And for my villain side base, I did the same thing. So that everything would connect to Kapau Diop. Of course, I never did get much work done on my villain side base. I only had a couple of villains. Here, we're not restricted. Nothing costs anything. So we're able to build to our heart's content. And people have made a lot of really amazing bases. Sometimes I think that this is what Zeb Cook was really, really hoping people would be able to do one day. I say Zeb Cook. Grognards are probably familiar with the name. That's because it is the same Zeb Cook they're thinking. Dude is like a rock star among game creation circles. He's worked for TSR, Bethesda, geez, all sorts of different people. He was the lead designer on Fallout 2, and he was the lead designer on City of Villains, which was also the update that introduced bases. So yeah, like I mentioned before, utility is very localized. Villain side, hero side. And over here is medical. More technological medical in this case. A lot more surgery drones floating around. A couple surgical areas over here. Mobile supplies, gurneys. and various supplies and sundry in here. Scanners, mixers, a lot of high-tech stuff. When a player spawns in, they look around, they see portals, which are right here, so they can get right back to business. And then there's the rest of this. This is a ceremonial area. Parades and formations. This is where they would hold a promotion. Training is conducted over here. Big fighting mat. Big fighting ring. Weightlifting and cardio. And the pool. I love having a pool. These weren't even the first bases where I thought of putting one in. A raid shuttle. A diplomatic shuttle. Many more weapons at the ready for the diplomatic shuttle. The Teristrian Alliance is a group of bounty hunters and lawbringers, even to a backwater like Earth. But that doesn't mean that they'll always play nice. The idea for this base is that it is a grounded spaceship itself. So the command area is supposed to look like a cockpit. Control console, captain's chair. Port weaponry. Starboard weaponry. The idea of this apparatus here is that it's something they can load shells into to fire. Despite the open hangar bays, the vessel does have turrets mounted on top. At least that's the story. I haven't done any weird crazy shit to build outside of the boundaries, outside of the ceiling. So there aren't any actual turrets up there. The ceiling, I cannot jump any higher. There are some tips and tricks that enable people to build up there, and that's how people build some of their more bizarre, expansive bases. Stuff that's outdoors and full cityscapes. But it involves basically playing Legos with the base parts, and I don't have the patience for that. These are the engine rooms. And that's basically it. This base used to be a lot more complicated. Basically something just shoveled together. Fixing it to look the way it does now, without losing a bunch of the stuff I've accumulated, such as the rare salvage, and the uncommon salvage and such, I had to take all of these objects the stuff that I had to save and drag it all into this room. Then I deleted everything and started from scratch. First I had to figure out where I would teleport in, so that way I knew which direction to build. And despite being a bitch, the overhaul still only took about 4 hours. But it was fun. A lot of everything in this game is actually fun. I remember when Homecoming first opened up and people were showing up. Somebody asked in one of the global channels why we weren't gaining prestige. Prestige was the currency that supergroups used. And a lot of us cheerfully pointed out that there was no prestige, not on Homecoming. Well, that player was a bit upset because they really wanted to get to work on their base. Well, we made their day, maybe even their year, when we pointed out there were no costs and they could just build whatever the hell they wanted. That person vanished for, well, until I was done, and I played for a good 6 hours that day. Maybe one of these days I should do some gameplay footage. Maybe show how Ambassador Kernash operates as a mastermind. Because he does not operate the way the average mastermind does. He has got a lot of melee attacks. Well, I am Mr. Grey. Thank you. Have a good one.